Hi, I'm Alex Orr, Vice President of Sales at EverLast Lighting, and thank you for joining EverLast Lighting on another webinar series. This would have been formerly the Quick 30 series. However, you spoke and we listened and we responded by reducing the amount of time for the webinars from 30 minutes down to 15. We understand that a very efficient and concise delivery is important for you, and your time is very valuable, so we certainly want to be conscious of that. As you can see, I'm actually joining you on today's webinar from my home office as we are under stay-at-home orders here in Michigan. And I'm assuming that many of you will be tuning in from your home offices as well. So we appreciate you staying safe. Today's webinar is going to consist of three main parts, and the overall subject matter is going to be increased consistency and how that plays a factor in our high bay lines specifically, as well as our shoeboxes. So three main topics of discussion, or three main topics here, are going to be product evolution. So what has happened to our product over time, some of those consistency enhancements that we have made to get where we are today, and then what you can expect from us as we move forward. So in terms of product evolution, we start to look at where did we start and how did we get here, and what did that path look like in between where we started and where we're at today. So if you can think back all the way to our HBLG series, which is our very first high bay, LED high bay that we launched, it's important to consider what that fixture was actually comprised of. Now, at the time, it seemed probably like EverLast had launched a UFO high bay that was very similar to all the other UFOs that were out in the industry at the time. However, it was for us, it was a best of the best scenario. It was an over-engineered, over-budget, over-designed unit that had a cold forged heatsink that had 120-ish lumens per watt. And it was an over budget unit, because when you start to design fixtures, especially when it's your first real launch of an LED product in terms of a high bay solution, we wanted to make sure that we were doing right by the market and launching a product that was very robust. However, as this product made it through its life cycle, we started to understand that this was actually too robust for the applications that it was made to put in. So you start to go back to the drawing board when you are designing the next generations of fixtures, and you start to try to find balance between what you did really well and what the market is demanding. So at the time, there was obviously the pricing model started to drop. So we were, some of us were participating in the race to the bottom in terms of pricing, while the market was demanding more lumens per watt, more controls ready units, and so on. And that created some challenges for many manufacturers, because the market was evolving so rapidly that everyone was trying to launch products as fast as possible to try to be first to market when those demands from the market were when the market spoke. And we fell into the same trap to some degree, and we were trying to find a very delicate balance between between launching new products, the path of least resistance, helping understand and helping maintain good lumen per watt levels and price points to our customers. And where we found ourselves is this middle ground of launching products that were not necessarily consistent with the previous generation. So if we take into consideration, or we start to look at our HBLG series, and then the next model high bay that evolved from that series, which would have been the HL. Now, both of them had cold forged heat sinks. However, as we started to buy into the increased lumen per watt demand, we just took the path of least resistance there and made a little bit larger heatsink. Now, that doesn't necessarily seem like a bad thing. However, when you start to find balance between market ready, or the optics that ALP Lexolite, who's a world-class optics manufacturer, reflectors, that's who we purchased our items from. We worked closely with them to make sure that we were delivering the best optical packages that we could to the market. And the issue is that as we naturally started to transition from the HBLG series to the HL series, there were different size rings so the outer dimensions of the heatsink got a little larger, and the rings and the adapter plates and so on that were required to make sure that those world-class optics were able to bolt onto our heatsinks, those were changing. And that made things a little bit difficult. It made it difficult for us because there was a greater number of SKUs, and it made it slightly more difficult for our reps and our end users in the event they needed to change something in the field, or even from just an overall specification and design build from a level of familiarity of one product to the next. So in our inherent nature, it was to be agile, but the problem is that the more agile we were basing our systematic approach to the market on flexibility, and we were delivering flexible products and product families, if you will. However, that transition wasn't necessarily as natural as we wanted it to be because there wasn't a level of consistency amongst products as we continue to launch new series. And this holds true for our shoeboxes as well. If you look all the way back, on our first LED launches, we've had probably 4, 5, 6 generations of shoeboxes since. And while that's great and it helps our customers be able to have a huge breadth and depth of products to offer their customers, our manufacturers' reps offer their customers, it's important that they have a consistent product to offer their customers. The same look, the same design, while we're still increasing the lumen per watt and we're establishing more controls ready packages for them. So finding that balance was a very difficult and very challenging at times. So as we move forward, now we start to talk about where we are today and how we've made some changes in terms of consistency. So we're trying to find the balance between price, innovation, consistency, and being able to stay flexible and nimble for our customer base, because we know that's how we fit into many of your product line cards, is our ability to respond very quickly to some of those one-off solutions. So in order to do that, we've created a smaller footprint that fits more with the industry standard top openings of our reflectors, and that is a universal smaller footprint. So on that picture on the left-hand side there, that is a picture of our new HL17B, which we just launched a couple weeks ago. And while that's important, is because that is the same exact heatsink that was launched on the HL15B series, the high temperature units as well. So the 65C 15Bs and the 65C 17Bs. So regardless of high temperature or normal ambient temperature, 100 watt through 240 watt, all of these heat sinks are the same. They're all identical. They all have bolt patterns for all of the different wattage drivers that we have. They all have the same bolt pattern for all of the different controls packages that we offer, or all the different occupancy sensors that we have commonly used in the past. The ring and the adapter are all the same. The board layout is the same in terms of dimension, and we've just populated it a little bit differently so that we can increase the lumen per watts and go from the 150, which was the HL15B of last year, and we're transitioning into the HL17B. This expectation is, and this transition is something that you can also expect as we move forward on the ENC shoebox side as well. That next generation, as we move up in lumens per watt, either to the 170 lumen per watt area, that will be something that will transition naturally, just as the HL15B did to the HL17B, and same thing for the high temperature. So we want to be more consistent in that way, where you can become much more familiar with our product. The look stays the same. You understand how this works. The product families in general are going to become much more consistent and much more familiar. Even down to the part number sequences. We're going to make this much more simplistic, so that way, again, we're helping you take the path of least resistance in terms of the sales cycle, and making sure that you're quoting a product that you are very, very familiar with. And simple reflector changeouts. That is a very important thing for us, because as warranties do happen, it's important for us to be able to send a new module out to the customers, and they're able to bolt on the existing reflector that's in the field very easily without having to adapt and put new adapter plates and different round ring adapters and so on onto the actual module itself in order to make the fitment work. So you will not have those types of issues as we move forward from the HL15B into the HL17B. So we will still have to send different adapter plates and so on for the previous generations, but moving forward as we move to the HL15B in the last year and then the 17B this year, you will not be adapting or having to create adapters to fulfill warranties in that regard. So what you can expect from us as we move forward. So from an inventory standpoint, this helps tremendously because you're creating a situation where you only have one SKU of a heatsink. Because all of the sizing and all of the form factors and all of the thermal management was really designed for our maximum wattage and our maximum lumen per watt packages. When we created this heatsink, it was important for us to take the one SKU approach because we wanted to manage our inventory as effectively as possible and remain very flexible to our manufacturer's representatives. So it was important in that regard that we move forward with that design and just have that shared level of consistency amongst product families there. We will continue to utilize our in-house fabrication team in those efforts so that junction boxes fit the same way. We're able to adapt fixtures from the HL15B to the HL17B without having a bunch of different plates added on. And then overall, our whole entire goal in all of this is just to give you peace of mind that EverLast, and as we move forward, is going to be tremendously consistent in making sure that we're able to deliver a product to you that's going to look and feel the same as its previous generation. And I think that as that translates down to the customer level, I think that's going to be really important for them. Our marketing department, I think, slid this slide in here, but it's just kind of a reminder that EverLast Lighting and the approach that we take is really just built. It's a model that kind of hangs its hat on service because we talk about being built for you, built for the customer, built for the end user, built for manufacturers' representatives all the time. I mean, that is a message that we try to remain tremendously consistent on, and we try to just maintain that mantra as we move forward because we know how important it is for us to be with you and for you at every opportunity that we can. And from a service aspect, it's really important that we have no overlap at all in terms of what we do on the service side of our business. We hang our hat on service, and we always are willing to answer the phone no matter what time of day it is, and whether the situation's good or bad. We will always be there for you in terms of service, and that is one thing that you certainly can rely on. And I think that speaks volumes as some of you have looked at our engineered solutions and some of the one-off products and custom solutions that we've made for you. We know that we can step to the table, be really flexible, very agile, and just kind of that service kind of just resounds throughout all the things that we're able to do for you. Another thing from the service side of our business and just being totally transparent with our agencies is that we actually have a new agency referral program. So we have a couple holes in the country where there's maybe some gaps in some states that aren't necessarily filled. And what we've been able to do is come up with a program that allows you to benefit from making agency recommendations that would fit our kind of our protocol or fit really well with how we operate. You know better than we do what agencies around you or what agencies share conglomerate lines with you that would work well with the way that we operate. So that's what we're looking for. We want recommendations of manufacturers' reps that work similar to the way you do and that you would know would work really well with us. And so long as there's a signed contract and all the paperwork shakes out, what we're willing to reward you with is a 1% of year one sales for that new manufacturer's rep agency. So we think that it's a really awesome bonus. I think that helps you basically incentivizes you to make those good recommendations, because we know that it's important for there to be good profile alignment on those new rep agencies. From your regional rep support side of the EverLast Lighting line, we obviously will be here for you in terms of trade shows. So if you have any of those additional trade shows that you'd like to recommend to us, we'd certainly like to know about those, and we will let you know about us as we travel to your area to attend trade shows. If you'd like to join us, you are certainly more than welcome to. From a technical support stance, your regional rep will continue to support you from the technical side. We have a ton of resources available. We have engineering resources available for you, and just to make sure that we're able to offer that technical support should you need it. From a data and sales trend perspective and closing more deals perspective, you get a monthly email from us every month that shows the open jobs that you have with us. And it's just that subtle nudge to help you understand that we care, we're listening, and we care about you closing jobs because it helps us, but it also helps you. It's important for us to be able to continue to utilize our CRM software. Again, you just, I believe, received an email last week or the week before letting you know that our phone lines are actually being upgraded to integrate well with our CRM software, so we can log calls, make notes about the calls that are happening. And that's all done in an effort to be able to be more consistent with our sales data and our trend lines that we put together for you, and just overall helping our manufacturers rep agencies close more deals. In terms of site visits, we're always available, again, just similar to the trade shows. If there's something that you need us to do for you, or there's a better opportunity for us to close the deal should we show up, absolutely, we will be there without a doubt. And that's a natural transition into always being available. Not only are we available for trade shows, site visits, technical support, all that type of stuff, but we are always available should you need us, day or night. You can reach out to your regional rep via email, text, phone call. They will answer their phones. They're very good about that. And if for whatever reason they miss your call, they're very diligent about getting back with you as quickly as possible. Again, I just wanted to say thanks on behalf of the EverLast Lighting team for carving out 15 minutes of your day today and joining us on this product consistency webinar. We know your time is extremely valuable, and thus the reduction in the amount of time that we spend on these webinars. So again, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to you joining us on the next one.